honored. No, we're here. Thank you for coming. So there will be a few announcements and explanations, and you can ask questions. Everybody on the table. We're here. You want to start? You want to say something, or Coach? Go ahead.
We will answer questions.
All right, well, we're only here because we just want to be transparent to everyone what's going on and how we're proceeding, and there's always a lot of opinions being formed out there, and we want people to be able to make informed opinions on how things are going. So we decided to just come out and be with the public. I know that there's a lot of questions about the lineup, and hopefully we can answer those questions about the lineup today. We have been working off of multiple lists in terms of the lineup. Can I just go ahead and start talking about it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, when I first was approached and started with the team, we were given a list of 60 players, 30 of which were PBA players. The other half were players from Japan, Korea, UAAP, NCAA, even some naturalized possibility players that would be naturalized, or possible naturalized players. And so that was the list in which we first worked on. It was my desire that, looking at the lineup and how we wanted to proceed, I felt that we needed more balance in the lineup. So I requested, if possible, we could add Calvin Abueva and Jason Perkins to that list. They were outside that list of 60. From the idea was that if we wanted to be a competitive team, it was going to be comfortable for me to coach. And again, I say this over and over and over again. If you decide what the 12 players are, what 12 players you want, I decide what 12 players I want. Coach Al decides what his 12 players, you ask Yang Yao his 12, you ask Chot his 12. We're all going to come up with different 12s. Because we're not out there looking for the 12 best players. We're looking for the players that we can put together that can play the best in our vision, our own vision. Mine is in the triangle. Coach Yang is in multiple action. Chot is in dribble drive. Tab in his motion. So we all have different systems, and players fit differently in different systems. Does that make sense? So it's all about, it's not, it comes down to personal choice. So my personal choice was Calvin and Jason, because I felt that they would fill out the lineup and fill out the positions that were lacking. With the loss of Brandon Rosser, he was out because of a broken leg, and the loss of Jamie Malonzo because he has back issues. So those two guys were supposed to be the guys to replace them and place those positions in the lineup. And in the beginning, it was like, we should be able to do that. It shouldn't be a problem. But obviously, as it's become closer and closer and closer, it has become more of an issue. We also had to replace Kiefer Ravenna, who was in Japan, and we had to replace CJ Perez, who had to go to Japan with his family. So he wasn't available. So we looked at the list of 60 that we got, the original list of 60, and we chose Terrence and Mo Tautua to replace the 60. Well, so we were really only worried about Jason and Calvin. The other two guys, they were on the list, so walang problema, di ba? So what happened later is, mga 5 days ago, we were told that there is another list that was submitted. And there's a list of 37 players. And on that list of 37 players, Mo and Terrence, and even Stanley, who we had as our alternate, were not on the new list that was submitted. So we had a 60 list that we originally worked off. The two guys that Calvin and Jason were not on that list. We wanted other players off that list, but we knew it would be too hard, so we just asked for those 2. And so then we took Terrence and Mo because they were on that list of 60. Now the new list comes. Now all 4 players are not on that list. So now we're requesting to put 4 guys on the list that were not on the list. Does that make sense? You still making sense? Let me know because I know it gets confusing. We're confused. So that's where we stand. We're trying to get those 4 guys onto the thing. We've heard that the answer is no. We've heard that, but we haven't got anything official, and we're trying different avenues to continue. In the meantime, we had to go to the list of 37 and look at that list and try to find 4 replacements for the guys that supposedly cannot go. And that's Jason, Calvin, Abueva, Mo Tautua, and Terrence Romeo. So we had to look for 4. So we looked on the 4 of the 37 list. There was only 6 available players for us to choose 4 from the 37 list of 37. The reason why, again, all the players from Japan and Korea, all the injured players are on there. And it boils down that there's only 6 players left. So we had to choose 4 from those 6. And so this guy, poor guy, he has to call these guys at 11 o'clock last night and say, can you show up tomorrow at 9 a.m. for a practice?
Inspire.
And Inspire. So he calls all 4 players and they all agree. And those 4 players are Chris Ross, Kevin Alas, Arvin Tolentino, and CJ, who has returned. So CJ came back yesterday, so he's now back in the Inspire camp. So those are the 4 replacements that we have for Calvin, Terrence, Mo, and Jason. So obviously we've gone a lot smaller. The last guys are a lot smaller. There's 3 point guards in the group, and Arvin fills out the small forward situation for us. So those are the 4 guys that came up this morning. So now we're practicing in Inspire with 16 players as we go. And I'm sorry, we had another other bad news is that Roger had to withdraw from the national team for health reasons. And that's another whole issue together. I can't answer questions about that. You'll have to contact Roger and his doctors, but he is withdrawn from the national team for serious health issues, I should say. And so we were able to pick up Marshall Lassiter, who is on the list, by the way. So he got on the list of 37. So Marshall is there. So now we have 5 new players on the team starting today. If the other 4 are still turned down, and we hope to know that within the next 24 to 48 hours, whether they'll be available. So we're still trying different avenues to try to get them settled, but it doesn't look good, honestly. And so we'll probably go with the 4 that we have. We have the list, and we will show you the list. We will pass out the list to you.
May list kaming yung original list sa kayong 35 na tira, 36, 37, bibigyan namin sa inyo para makita nyo kung ano totoong nangyari. Okay. Now, sa 37, in-explain ni Coach Tim, 6 lang ang pwede namin kuhain. 6 lang pala available. So kung makikita nyo, yung gusto niyang ipaglaban na lineup, Mo is 6'8", 6'7", ang kapalit nyo, Chris Ross. 6'9". Si Calvin Abueva, ang kapalit yun, si CJ Perez. Okay? Si Perkins, ang magiging kapalit yun, si Alas. Okay? Tapos, who's the other guy? Romeo, Arvin Tolentino. So, makikita nyo yung the difference of the height. Bigla tayong lilit. Again, what Coach Tim said, we need to pick 4 doon sa 6 natitira. As of now, kataka kayo, 37 yun. Bakit 6 na natira? Mababasa nyo mamaya. Karamihan doon, nasa Japan, karamihan doon, ganito. Si Clarkson nga kasama doon. Okay? Hindi naman maglalaro dito yun. Diba? May training camp na sa NBA. Yun lang, to make it clear. But, like what Chairman said before, nandito kami na gumawa, kami na lalaban. So, kahit ganun siguro yung lineup na sinasabi ni Coach Tim, lalaban kami. You know, lahat siguro sabihin, ang daming sabi, mag-withdraw. Yan pinakamadali. That's the quickest way. Para hindi na sumakit ang ulo namin. But, you know, what Coach Tim said. And, can I say this? Last night, it's very emotional. And, you know, we talked to the four. Talagang iyakan. Kasi kahit sandali lang na oras, talagang naging solid yung team. Okay? So now the question of Coach Tim was, if the four will be out this morning, dumating yung apat. Kasi si Marcio, pinarating ko kahapon, dumating siya. Okay? He practiced one time. He asked the 7 players, right? Minus Pugoy will be 7, the original. Right? 8 because of Marshall's new yesterday. We asked, Coach Tim asked them, wala na yung apat. Kayong bali 5 plus Pugoy. Are you guys willing to play? The quickest way to say is, huwag na lang. Hindi na sasali ang Pilipino. Hindi na sasali ang Pilipinas. And the 7 players, the number 1 who answered, unang-una si Junmar. And everybody wants to play. Diba? Ang dami naming sleepless night, but coming from the players, coming from Coach Tim, they want to play. So now we got, the first game will be on the 26th. So anong date na ngayon? Ha? 19, 20, 21, 22, 3. Okay, isang linggo para ma-adapt yung system ni Coach Tim doon sa bagong 4 pasok na 5. Okay? Sana yung papel nandiyan na ngayon, no? Excuse me. Yung papel nandiyan na ngayon, ibibigay sa inyo. Makikita niyo yung original na 60, naging 37, yung 37, gusto ko lang iklaro sa inyo. Tingnan nyo kung ba't 6 lang ang pwedeng pagpilian na kukuning 4. It's all there. That's why Coach Tim, our President Al, our Chairman, Vice Chairman, and Commissioner Willie, we don't want to hide things. We want to be transparent. What really transpired? Bakit ganito? Okay? Yun lang. I guess our Chairman and President Al, Commissioner Willie, and especially Vice wants to say something about the situation. Yun lang. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming and hearing us out. No? From the first time that SBP requested the help of the PBA under the leadership of Chairman Vicky Vargas never withheld that kind of support. We have always been 100%. Now, here we are again, you know, and Coach Tim working under conditions with several constraints. We have again proved to the SBP that the PBA will always be behind, you know, the program of the SBP. Our support to the SBP goes a long way back, but let me just start with the time that leading to the preparation for the World Cup, wherein the SBP created a pool and the PBA held several special Gilas drops, which deprived the PBA of several talents coming from the collegiate schools. And because of this support, unwavering support of the PBA, even our schedules, got messed up, if you would call it. The biggest sacrifice, of course, came from the team owners who allowed, their teams, to give that unwavering support, to SBP. The PBA suffered in loss of revenues. The players, the coaches, and everybody in the PBA family, somehow, I don't call it suffer, but we were always willing to give that support. Okay? So here we are again, in our campaign, working with in conditions with several constraints. It is good to have Coach Ting Kong taking up the challenge again and forming the best possible team available. So with that, we just again state our steadfast commitment to the PBA, and there was a long discussion, so we decided to really continue participating in the Asian Games. I give you now to the Chairman Ricky.
Sabi na lahat. Nandito na tayo. We're here. We've crossed the line. And we have decided that we will continue with this team. And we will be out there giving our utmost best. Sabi ko nga kay Al Francis, and I shared this with others na, there's something special with this team. There was something special with this group that got together and said that we want to play, and it even became more special when we went through all these difficulties, and in that boardroom, in the PBA boardroom, we all decided that we will not quit. Kasi yun din naman ang gusto naming malaman as Filipinos, and we want to impart to the rest of the Filipinos that we will not quit. We will continue to have pride in representing our country, and we're here. So, of course, performance we will be judged, but we will never feel that we were quitters, and that's the message we want to give to the rest of the people. We have the best players that are available, and these best players, they are special, and they will work and continue to work. Maski 5 days lang to. The inclusion of the 5. Maski 5 days lang to. We still are hopeful. Diba? So it's difficult, but we're not running away from it. So, salamat. I hope you understand that.
Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Again, thank you for being here. I just want to say again, and I've said this in many forums, that maraming salamat sa PBA. Just wanted to echo what Vice Chairman Bobby said, and to the team owners. We appreciate the sacrifice that has been given to us by the PBA. Unconditional love, kumbaga sa pag-ibig, unconditional love na ang binibigay ng PBA sa SBP. And I appreciate that personally from the SBP. Yes, there's long discussions. Marami ng gabi-gabi to, we've been on Viber call. Team will be inspired, but still we will be on a call with him. And there was a discussion whether to move forward or not. And I think, again, being transparent can have also its own, I'm sure, may magsasabi, we're being transparent na, pero meron pa rin tayong comments na maririnig. Okay lang sa akin yun. But it was important for me to hear from Tim also his thoughts. And I'm really glad that despite the difficulties, the circumstances we're in, sama-sama dito sa mesang ito, and sabi nga ni Chairman, we will fight, we continue to fight, despite the handicaps that we have, and I think the only thing I can ask for is really to really support the team. The 12, the 16 names, including the 4 that are saddened by this turn, are sacrificing for the team, for the flag, to participate in the Asian Games. So let's hopefully support the team, support Team Conan and staff and everybody in this table na really trying to bring the best team we can at this time. So again, maraming salamat sa inyo.
Isa na lang, nagpasalamat na ako sa kanila, but I just want to say thank you dun sa mga players. Short notice that I called them, but I know they got families and everything, but I called them late, and I want them to show up 8:30 in the morning. That's Chris Ross, Arvin Tolentino, Kevin Alas, and CJ Perez. Isang tawag ko lang, wala akong narinig na sinabing, hindi, ano ba, nagkikitain ba kami dyan? Walang ganun. Lahat laban. Isa pa, and Marshall Lassiter. When I called him that night, said, I'm just gonna fix something, and I'm the one who's taking care of my kids at school, siya daw naghahatid. Sabi ko, we're not forcing you guys to go. Pati sa apat sinabi ko yun. But, we got changes and everything, but if you're willing to play for us, for the national team, please, sagot kagad siya. After few minutes, he called me back, si Marshall. He said, what time should I be there? Buti kung dito lang yung isa yun. Everybody's going to inspire. Hindi rin biro yung biyahe nila. At the only thing that they asked me, ilang damit ang dadalhin namin? Yun lang tinanong. Walang ibang tinanong sa akin. Wala silang ganito, may makukuha ba kami dyan? Wala. Kaya this team, yung 16 na to, very special for us. Sa puso namin, yung nag-iyakan kahapon, medyo masakit para sa akin, no? Kasi ako kami ni team ang kumausap sa mga batang to join this team. Yun lang. Kaya nagpapasalamat ako sa kanila.
We have 4 guys. Sorry, this one. We have, so right now we have 4 guys that are maybe on the lineup, and then we have another 4 guys that are maybe on the lineup. So they're coming together and practicing together, even though they're not sure if they're going to be on the lineup or not. And we're in that situation right now. Hopefully that will clear up, but we're in that situation right now where we got all those guys up there, and no one knows exactly who's going to be on the lineup of those 4. So give them great credit. And, Calvin has shown, Abueva especially, has shown such great passion being with us and being in every practice. I was telling the guys that normally I'm a short practice guy. I like to practice hard but short. I only have hour and 45-minute practices at the most. And that's just my style. But since we've been in Inspire, we've been doing full, literally 3 hours of practice. And it's practice. It's not parang shooting or ganyan. It's just really practice. Then we break, we go to weights, and then we rest for a couple hours, we come back, and then we go through another 3-hour practice. So these guys, we've been killing them. And Calvin especially has just been, he's been amazing in terms of passion and wanting to play and wanting to be there. And then when we told him last night, he just broke down and cried that there's no chance that he's going to be on the team. And then, of course, 30 minutes later, we said, well, we do have a small chance. So I said, you can, this is why it's been an emotional roller coaster, this whole thing for all of us, me especially. It's been a real emotional roller coaster so far. And no doubt the hardest, I don't know what to call it, journey, hardest, whatever that I've done in my coaching career so far. And then again after all this, we went through all this, I turned around to these guys, I said, we don't have to play. We could not play. The SBP and the guy said, if we don't want to play, we don't have to play. So I went to Jumar and said, but what, you guys still want to play? Jumar, Justin, Calvin, Otana, Scotty, they were all adamant, yes, we want to play. we want to play. And so that's where we are right now. We're 4 guys still waiting, 4 guys. We have another practice at 5 o'clock. We'll go from 5 to 8 this evening, watch some video afterwards, and these guys are going to do that without even knowing whether they're going to play or not. So, you know, we got to give them their props for coming out and doing this for us. It's not an easy thing. I told them I haven't worked a team this hard since I coached high school. So they're dealing with it and handling it. Really proud of these guys.
Thank you. Good afternoon, gentlemen. A question po to Sir Al Panlilio. Sir, magandang hapon po. Aaron Bayato from RP2 Sports. Kumusta po yung communication ng SPP tsaka ng Philippine Olympic Committee? Because President Tolentino mentioned that they're also working hard to communicate with HAGOC para sa inclusion ng deviation or arrangement ng mga lineups. Sorry, amendments ng mga lineups including basketball and other sports. Thank you po.
Yeah, thank you for that. Araw-araw din, nag-uusap po ng POC, SBP. In fact, even a gentleman on this table is in touch with not only Bambol, but some of the, people on the ground in China. No? So, tulong-tulong talaga ng POC. And POC is also looking beyond basketball, as you said. No? Marami silang tinatrabaho ng mga changes in lineups also na kailangan gawin. So, everybody's trying to help each other out. I think that's the only thing I can say. And really, it's a collaborative effort for the Philippine delegation, no, the entire delegation to hopefully be, able to represent the country the best way we can. Thank you.
Question for Sir Al. Hi, sir. Good
Pauline.
afternoon. Sir, just wanted to clarify why there were 2 lists. One that had 60 players and one that had 37, and why was Coach Tim asked to choose from the 60-player one when apparently the 37 one was the one that's going to be followed?
Yeah, kasi yung 60 list na yan, I'm told was given months ago because there was a request already as early as 2-3 months to submit a list. Or May, so it's been a long time, and actually when we were asked, parang napakaaga, but we just had to come up with a list, and I think they brought it down to 37. Again, of course, may mga players from UAP, may players from Japan, Korea. There are some players also that we wanted, but injured, like Brandon and all of that. So, and as Tim and Tokayo said, 6 names were available in that list. So, that's where we are now. So we're just trying our very best to, as what Coach Tim said, form the team that he feels will work together and hopefully deliver the performance he wants in the Asian Games.
There was no miscommunication, sir, or on the end of having to choose from the 60-player list, because I understand like Terrence Romeo was in the 60-player list but not in the 37.
Well, we're just working at what we have now, and I don't want to go back anymore pulling because we're already here, and we're trying our very best to form a team that will compete.
I just want to add that I remember back in May when Coach Chart was told that he had to put a list together, and he was like, "Why am I putting a list together in May for something that's not going to happen until September or October?" And he was, I remember him being really upset about that and having to do it at that point. But I wasn't involved in the actual list. I didn't know who was on that list. But that was the first list that was just given to us. That was the one that submitted back in May. We assumed it, and never assume anything, but at that point we assumed that was the list that we were working off of. So that's the list that we got Terrence and Mo and Stanley off of. But still there was no Abueva and no perk on it. So we were still asking for those 2 that were on that list. It just happens, again, 5 days ago, there was a list that came up, and we were all they were all surprised that there was another list out there. And so, man, the bottom line is that this is what we have. This is what we have to deal with. And so we're just going to move forward with what's right in front of us and deal with that. Where that list came from really has no bearing at this point for us. We just got to deal with it.
Just tell them we need, remember, we want to include Rosario.
Yeah, we were looking to also include Troy Rosario, and looking at the possibility of getting Troyano, Semerad, a lot of guys we were trying to get, and then we even tried to get Maverick Hanmisi, who's come from the list, and remember that?
Yeah, but
we were looking at the list of 60, and we go, oh, there's Hanmisi, all right, we can get Hanmisi, but it was his brother pala, it was Jarek, kapatid yan. But he ended up not being on the list of 37 also. So all those guys were not on the list of 60, but they also weren't on the list of 37. So
You know what happened, like, Coach Tim is requesting, para sila sa restaurant eh, requesting for food na order. Kaya, isang sisig, wala eh. Ay, sila order din, wala eh. So, that's really what happened. Nung nakapili na kami, di ba? So, eto, meron. Sabi niya, meron. Eto, meron. Sige, ordering ko na. Ay, walang stock. Naubusan. Ganun ang nangyari sa amin. So, imagine, we got, 37? Mamaya, nasa inyo, para makita nyo kung ma-explain. Ulitin ko ulit ha. Sa 7, 6 lang available. But, mabait pa rin ang ano sa amin dahil may 4 lang ang kailangan namin. May sobra pang 2. Gusto nyo, gawin nyo right there.
again, this is not on anybody, but the fact that I would want a different list than what was presented, because I'm a different coach. So that's the point. It wasn't like it was a bad list. It was just different from what I would have preferred for myself as a coach.
I guess I just go back to the earlier message team. There's 17 players who are sacrificed. I'm including Roger, on the 17. Let's just support them. Whoever makes it in the 17. Of course, Alana si Roger, so 16. As Tim said, there are avenues we're still looking at, but it looks like it's the second list we're looking at. But let's just support the 16 players that are practicing hard today in Inspire and under Tim.
Yung manager natin siguro may sasabihin. Nasubo ako usapan namin, hindi ako magsasalita eh. Hindi, nalaman naman yung PBA, anong araw pa. Ang dami na din pinagdaanan. Merong 6 na team na lang, may nagdemanda, nasunog ang Coliseum, bagyo, COVID, pero nandiyan pa rin ang PBA. Yun ang sinasabi namin sa inyo, nag-usap kami lahat na nasa table na to, pwede naman kami mayaw eh, pwede tayong mayaw, pero sila, laban tayo. So yun lang, ang request ko lang sa inyo, supportahan niyo ang Gilas at kailangan tayo magdasal. So, tama na muna kung pwede. Kung ano naman, may sasabihin ka rin, may tanong ka.
Clarification lang. Coach, clarify lang po, is Abueva, Terence, Mo, and sino ba yun? Perkins, they are already out 100%, or are you still appealing them to the organizing committee?
From what I understand is that we are still finding avenues in which to try to get them in. The word we've gotten just immediately is that they probably will not be available, but we're still looking for different avenues. So they're still up in Inspire camp and practicing with us until we get that final word. We haven't got that final word yet, in our minds anyway.
So, Coach, Chris Ross, Lassiter, and the rest of the players, they're also not yet sure of going to China.
Marshall is because he replaced Roger.
All right.
And he's on the list and he replaced Roger. But the other 4 are not sure if we can take our original 4 because they've been practicing with us and know the system much better. And we've had multiple practices with them. We've been doing 2-a-days. We would prefer to take the original 4 because that would balance our lineup. We have more size and they have more knowledge of what we do. But if that doesn't happen, then the other four will step in, and they will. As of now, they're continuing to practice and trying to catch up. They got a long ways to go before they can catch up, but they're trying to catch up with the original 7. Roger Pogo, he should have been the 8th, but we lost Roger too. So that was really modest for us. But so yeah, those 4 are the ones who.
Coach, is there a chance that maybe Ross would be in, but Marshall would be not going, or Arvin is in, but
Well, we're pretty much settled on Marshall. Marshall came up earlier and first, and
He's in the list, that's why he's okay.
yeah, Roger, yeah, they're all 4 of those 5 guys, including Roger, including Marshall, are all on the list. So we can select any of those 5, but right now Marshall is targeted as the replacement for Roger himself.
because Roger is injured, so it might be easier for him to replace.
Yeah, he'll place, right, we need that shooter, and he was our first look to replace Roger. Then after that, after we replaced Roger, then we got the news that the 4 may not be able to make it, and then we went and selected 4 more. Does that make sense?
The 4 more you earlier mentioned was Calvin, and then the 4
Yes.
coming in was Ross and Kapal.
Hindi. For yung 4, di ba?
Yung dalawa wala sa listahan. Para magklaro kasi siyempre Amerikano to in-checking ko. Hindi. Yung dalawa wala talaga sa listahan.
Sino yung dalawa?
Si Calvin and Perkins.
Perkins.
Wala talaga sila sa listahan. That's why, yun lang ang request ni Coach Tim para magkaroon kami ng 4 na ng stretch kasi wala kaming ganun. Doon sa 60. Kasi, ulitin ko, yung 60 na list, yung kalahati doon, UAP, NCAA, amateurs, and Japan and Korea. Pero, hindi naman sila papayagan ng UAP, NCAA. Siyempre, may liga sila. Yung Japan, Korea, hindi rin po pwede yun. Di ba? Okay, so tapos na tayo doon. So, yung dalawa, ang sinasabi namin, una sabi niya pala, para maintindihan niya, di ba, yung dalawa, si Calvin, saka si Perk. So sabi natin, baka pwede si Rosario para may size ang ganito. Wala sa listahan. Mikey Williams. Oh. So sabi nila, mahirapan, dalawa-dalawa lang. So dalawa lang yung wala sa list. Ngayon, ang ginawa namin, si Romeo saka si Mo nasa list. Bago kami matulog. Pagising namin, wala na 30 na lang ang natitira. So wala na rin sila sa list. So 4 ngayon yung pinapakiusap natin. Ang tingin ng China, 4 ang wala sa list. That's the story. Now, ang nabalitaan nyo, baka wala na yung 4. You're asking Coach Tim. Sabi niya, meron pang chance. Right? So what we did, to anticipate that, last night, pinarating namin yung 4. Okay? Ang sinasabi ngayon ni Coach Tim, yung 8 yun, parehong hindi sure yun, Kasi yung 4, hindi sigurado kung paalisin sila, papuntang China, or hindi sila kasali sa lineup. Itong 4 naman ang susunod. Ang sitwasyon ng 4 na bagong dumating, pag pinayagan ng China to, sila namang 4 ang mawawala. So yung sakripisyo ng 8 yun, medyo malalim. Lalo na yung 4 na mga nauna kasi grabe na ininsayo. Okay?
Pero kailan nyo malalaman na pwede na sila? Yung date na pa? Kailan malalaman kung okay na sila? Final line.
Sana alam ko rin. Hindi. Siguro mga mga 2 days and 2 months. Hindi. Mga 24 to 48 hours. Malalaman na natin. Diba? Doon talaga magkakaalaman na siguro. Kasi, imposible pang hindi sabihin, paalis na ang alas 23. Papunta doon. Ang first game natin is 26. Okay? Because of what happened, by the way, may practice game dapat tayo ngayon, right? May practice game against si Meralco. But the thing is, nung sinabi nga lumabas ka hapon yung 4 hindi na pwede, wawalo na lang kami. Paano naman, di ba?
paano mo naman pupush yung apat? Yun lang. Pero, I don't know if Coach Tim will push through about that.
Yeah, we have the Sackers game.
Yeah, may kalaban tayo, Koreans.
Can I just make a correction? I told everybody, and I've been saying it over and over again, and I feel like an idiot, but the game was supposed to, I told everybody the game was 7 o'clock, diba? And you remember I told the Sackers game was 7 o'clock? I was completely wrong. It's 4 o'clock. So if you can get it out to the public that it's 4 o'clock and not 7, sayang, everybody's going to go there at 7 and then walang tao. no players, walang laban. So hopefully they'll know to go to 4 and they can watch us at 4 o'clock. So I really made a big boo-boo.
Ganyan nakataranta yan. Paulit-ulit siya, 7. Kahapon niya lang na-realize na 4 pala lang.
4 pala. I knew it was 4. I don't know why I said it was 7. So I knew it was 4. So if you can get it out there, again, it's still open to the public. It's still at Phil Sports, but it's at 4 o'clock.
Tell them the venue, baka mali na naman.
No, I told him it's still at Phil Sports. And it's still, but it's 4 o'clock, not 7 o'clock. All right. So hopefully, I know there's going to be 100 people that show up at 7, and the game will be over. They'll be angry. Sayang, and it'll be my fault.
Pakisulat na lang din yun kasi marami na taong nakakalam. In-announce sa lahat 7 eh. Please lang, para yung mga taong nakawawang makakapanood eh, baka maligaw pa.
Coach Tim, good afternoon. Coach, isn't Stanley Pringle still a part of the team?
Stanley was originally, as you know, an alternate. He was not really original part of the 12 in the beginning. He was on the list of 60, so we felt that he could be our alternate in case something happens. We could bring him into the lineup. In fact, when Roger was out, Stanley thought he was going to be the one to replace Roger, but as it turns out, he's not on the list also. So we couldn't use him. So we couldn't use him as well. So he's out as well.
No, but he's part of the 60.
No, that's what I said. He's part of the 60, but it turned out that he's not part of the 37. So we couldn't use him either. He's like Mo and Terrence. So we can't use him either. So that's why we contacted Marshall Lassiter to replace Roger. And he just came in yesterday and had one practice with us last night and one this morning. But like I said, the new guys are all trying to catch up with the old guys. So yes, Stanley's saying he's out. He's still up there practicing with us. Yeah, he's in Inspire and he's been working with us all the way. Even though he knows he's out, he's still been working with us. So hats off to Stanley.
Coach, Coach, just to clarify po, the 4 have been, are there in Inspire na po ba right now? At this very
Yeah, kaninang umaga.
Okay, Coach.
I called them around 11:30, 11 at night, and that's why I'm thankful na dumating pa rin kaninang umaga. Nandun yung 4.
Okay, Coach.
They practice, their first practice is kanina.
Okay.
Pero, you know, yung practice since we started is really good. I mean, the energy is so high. Pero yung ensayo kanina, walang buhay. Kasi, siyempre, kaya makukuha namin yun. Siguro mga December, okay na yun. Maganda na sila.
Marcio, Coach, nandun na rin po. Wala pa. Marcio.
Siya ang una kong tinawagan eh. Kasi nung nalaman namin na may problema si Pugoy, I called him, ano ba ngayon? Tuesday. Sunday ko siya tinawagan. So, dumating siya kahapon. Kasi yung 4, kagabi ko lang tinawagan, kaninang umaga lang dumating.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Coach, good afternoon. Just clarification lang on the 37 man list. Who informed the team that no, this is the new list? Was it the organizers, the Hangzhou Asian Games Organizing Committee? Were they the ones who said, no, this is the list you have to follow?
There was a list that was sent to us. From what my understanding is, it was a list that was sent from Hagok to us, saying this is the list that was submitted to us. That's all I know. And so, and again, that happened 5 days ago. on the 14th, we received that list.
Thank you, Coach.
Sa marami ninyong narinig, let's put it in perspective, okay? We have a plan A, and that was Autua and the four that was mentioned. Now, plan B has been just today. Plan B has started today. And that is the 5 other players that was mentioned, so the Arvin Torrentino and all that. But we have a solid 7. Is it 7?
7.
We have a solid 7 that has been there since the beginning. So if Plan A happens, that's the best. That best for us. If Plan B happens, we're ready for it. So this team has decided to go to the Asian Games and put 2 plans in place, Plan A and Plan B. And we're ready to be able to field that team, whether it's Plan A or Plan B. So it's a decision made by this team here. So we're ready, together with the 7 solid players who said, even if they were just 7, they would still want to play. How can you say no to that? How can you say no to that? And including the members of this team saying that we want to play no matter how many we are, because we want to play for the Philippines. That's why I say it is special. Plan B is no less special. It is special because at one flick of a finger, they all went, not in Moro, they went to Laguna. Is it Laguna?
Laguna.
Yes, Laguna. They went to Laguna first thing in the morning and showed up. And guess what? The Plan A players, they're still there because they want to help out the team. So this group of 17 people plus Pogoy is really special. So how can you say no to that? So all they're asking is recognize the deepness of their commitment, and let's bring them as they leave with good wishes as they go to the Asian Games. So they will fight for us, and I think that's important. We're ready, Plan A and Plan B. So whoever says we don't have a Plan B, and whoever writes about we don't have a Plan B, we have a Plan B. Okay.
I guess the one big question that hasn't been asked me is why didn't we get a pool in the beginning? Why didn't we get 16 guys or 18 guys in the beginning, and then we could work everybody in? I can answer that by saying, number one, we had limited time in terms of doing things. I really wanted to go deep into our system and how we were going to coach. And so if we had a whole bunch of players there, we wouldn't be able to get everybody deep into the system. So I really went with 12, 13 actually with Stanley, to try to really immerse into what we were doing, with the idea that we would have all those 13. But then as the days went by, I started to find out that we weren't going to have those 13. But I was still, maybe I'm just too optimistic, but I was still hoping. And but now we've settled on a Plan B, and we're ready to go with the Plan B. The guys that we picked up are super excited about playing. So we're going to use that motivation to move us forward into the Asian Games.
Coach or Sir Al, yung bang 16, lahat sila pupunta or talagang kailangan may iwan? Yun ba yung plano mo
Okay.
para to be sure?
Okay, hindi, ganito. Bago kami umalis, sigurado sasabihin na yan eh. They're gonna tell us kung sino bibigyan nila ng anong tawag doon? Tama, accreditation, no? So, I think they're gonna tell us kung sino yung 4. Kung ako masusunod, gusto ko isama yung 16. Because naghirap din yung 4 eh. But again, I told them last night, we're not gonna force you if you wanna stay with your family. If ever it's not gonna happen, no? Okay lang. But I don't think yung sa China, hindi papayag yun na, kasi in-apply na natin sila. So, pag kukuha rito ng visa, pwede nilang reject. A perfect example, si L.A. Tenorio is not part of the list sa coaching staff. Okay? So, imagine nyo na, coaching staff. Hindi ito player, ha? Si L.A. Tenorio. Pinag-apply namin ng visa, pinasa na namin yung pangalan niya doon sa China na he's part of the assistant coaches, di ba? So, pagpasa namin doon, nireject dito. Hindi binigyan ng visa. Yeah, because kailangan merong bibigay na accreditation. So, pag nandun yung pangalan mo, at hindi ka nila in-approve, hindi ka basta-basta makakuha ng visa rito. Naintindihan nyo yan, ha? Okay? So, yung 16, kung papayagan nila sumama, bakit hindi? Kung gusto sumama ng mga player. Kung ayaw nila sumama, naintindihan namin.
Kahapon tinanong ako ni Francis. I agree with him. If the four want to go for support, for ano, go ahead. Finally, nakakuha kami ng approval yesterday, si Richard Rosario. Yes. And Tenorio are already accredited. So okay na sila. So it takes a process, no? And I think the reason why we want to complete this also, because they will process not only the basketball team, but the entire Philippine delegation. And the POC is also working on very hard. So yeah, we wanted to get all the decisions in place already. And that's why Chairman and everybody here is saying, plan A, plan B, we can go either way.
Sana si Coach Tim ma-approve din. Baka bigla i-disapprove to.
I was approved because I was an assistant coach already, so they allowed me to, I'm on the list.
Basta lista, no. Coach Tim is in the list as of now.
Mas madali yung officials eh. Kasi, you remember, ang football, di ba, nagpalit din ng officials. So that was granted. It's the players that's more difficult. I know, I've been there. In the last Asian Games, we were allowed to change our lineup 4 times, if I'm not mistaken. It's just in China, it's different. Lumabas yung long list, short list, lahat ng list. That's why it's only specific to the rule that was introduced in China. Last Asian Games, 4 times we changed the. I was then the POC at that time. 4 times we changed the list of players. Yeah, and it was the Jakarta. Hagop is a lot stricter in rules in China than it is when we did it in Jakarta.
That's why we thought that we could get Perkins and, that's why we thought we could get Perkins and Abueva in the lineup, because we thought we could do it, it would be a process, but we would do it. But it's turned out to be a lot tougher with China than we thought.
Well, we hope that they don't take out the ring, right? When we start playing, because there was a time we played in China, we could not even practice because they were fixing the ring, so the net. And you know, what makes it more difficult, we beat them in the World Cup, so that's the challenge.
You know, kaya that experience, magkakasama kami yun eh. That's why when we organized this group, when they told me about ikaw mag-manager, the next day, sinabi ko agad, I want to know for yung gym to our hotel, ganun kalayo, saan kami mag-iisayo, kamusta yung court, kamusta yung ganito, saan yung bola, saan bilihan ng tubig, saan malapit may clinic. Pinaalam ko na yun, may advance party tayo. Para hindi tayo manghula what happened to SEA Games.
If I may just add, we have to admire the level of commitment of these 17 valiant players, to still fight for their country. Never have I, at the risk of revealing my age, I haven't seen this for a long, long time. And these players are good examples, to emulate by the younger players, willing to fight for their country without asking for anything. So it's a shining moment. I still look at the positive side, despite all the difficulties and the limited time, it's a shining moment still for Philippine basketball.
Okay. Chairman, Tom, any more questions, Tom?
Questions?
More questions?
Magandang hapon sa inyo lahat.
Thank you.